So you guys saw a couple weeks ago when XDefiant first launched, I did a live stream giving my first impressions, and at first I'm like, yeah, this game's pretty solid. It's definitely one of the better free-to-play games we've had in recent years. And I was into it for a little bit, but I'm already kind of done with the game. Like, after 2 weeks, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't really want to play this game anymore. I kind of already quit and have moved on to other things. I haven't gone as far as to completely uninstall the game, but I'm getting there at this point. I mean, there are certain things I'm obviously going to cut the game a lot of slack for because the game did recently launch, like the connection problems, which did get resolved after a few days, so even though I was really upset at me being constantly disconnected, those are just typical growing pains associated with playing a new game, and it was free to play, so it didn't cost me anything, so I'm just like, whatever, it's not a big deal. And the overall lack of content, I mean, we have a decent amount of maps and different game modes. The weapon variety is the biggest problem, I would say, right now, but again, that's something that, give it a few months, and that's going to probably be rectified with the updates that we're going to keep getting. So, I'm not going to really worry about that too much either. There was a lot of hype surrounding this game, specifically from the Call of Duty community, people who have been fed up with the recent entries in the series and just don't think that Call of Duty is good and hasn't been very good in a very long time. People want a game that kind of feels like Black Ops 2, and they were hoping that XDefiant was going to be that. Unfortunately, that is not the case, and I am one of those people that was hoping kind of like for a bit of a classic Call of Duty experience in XDefiant. So, hey, I'm going to admit it, like, full transparency, I'm a COD guy, and I wanted this game to be more like Call of Duty than it actually was. So I'm just going to be open about that and not just be like, oh, the game is trash, because, you know, like, no, like, this is just how I feel, and if you feel differently, then that's completely fine. But I'm just coming at it from my perspective. I was disappointed. Well, the one thing that really I didn't like right off the bat was the lack of team deathmatch. So you have a whole bunch of different game modes that have been a pretty common staple in recent Call of Duty entries. They're called different things in XDefiant, but they're essentially Domination, Headquarters, Safeguard, Cranked. There's a lot of Call of Duty style objective modes, but they are all objective modes. I think the game would benefit greatly from having a team deathmatch mode, because if you're trying to draw in Call of Duty players, and that really is what they were trying to do, like, most of the hype surrounding XDefiant was not from people in the Counter-Strike community, not from people in the Valorant community, or any other community of FPS players. It has predominantly been from Call of Duty players. Most of the videos you've seen hyping up XDefiant for the past couple years have all been from guys like Nero Cinema, Raid Away, like all of those Call of Duty YouTubers. That's where most of the marketing and hype has originated from, and TDM is by far the most popular mode in Call of Duty, so I think that was a big mistake not having it. I am sure eventually they're going to add TDM, but I'm worried that it might be too little too late, and by then people are going to move on to other shit and not care anymore. Because I think the overall gunplay and just the overall game itself, they've laid a good foundation. It's not a trash game, but I think they should honestly double down on the attention that it's gotten from the Call of Duty player base and try to make it as close to a Call of Duty type experience as possible. No, a lot of people are not going to like that. They want, well, but XDefiant should be its own thing. Here's the deal. Call of Duty has been absolute dog shit going back to at least 2018. Some people are going to argue it's been even longer than that. Fair enough, but at least for me, the last game that I truly enjoyed was Black Ops 4. And I know there are a lot of people that feel the same way. So, I mean, it's just, you could tell that they were trying to cater to those disenfranchised COD players, because the whole thing with their matchmaking system in XDefiant is that it does not have skill-based matchmaking. Well, it does, but it's completely optional. You can decide if you want to be part of SBMM, go ahead, but if you don't, you can have it completely turned off, and that has honestly been the biggest thing that the COD community has praised XDefiant for. And I'm hoping Activision/Microsoft are taking notes from that and are seriously considering removing that bullshit once and for all from the Call of Duty series and Black Ops 6. Hopefully. But I think there are so many things that are fundamentally wrong with the balancing in this game that makes me just not really want to play it much more. I think the big thing is the incredibly long time to kill. I think that needs to go way down. Like, way down. I just don't think that really works that well in a fast-paced Twitch arcade shooter like Call of Duty, like XDefiant is. I just don't think it works that well. I think having a moderate time to kill is fine, but just having one that's way too long like this. Black Ops 4 had a really long TTK, but it was balanced out by the manual healing system, so it was a lot more feasible to actually get multi-kills. In this game, it's so rare. Like, it has nothing to do with your skills. It's just the fact that your health is so incredibly low, it takes so long to regenerate, and takes so long to actually finally kill an enemy that, yeah, if you're running up with like 2 or 3 different enemies at the same time, 9 out of 10 times you are not going to survive that gunfight. You're just not. Honestly, that's the biggest problem that I have with the game that kind of turned me off pretty quickly. And yeah, the lack of kill streaks was another thing. I'm gonna shamelessly admit that, because it just doesn't feel like I'm progressing or really aiming towards anything during the actual match. People say, well, the goal is to win the game. I'm like, that's fine, but kill streaks are fun. I'm sorry to say, but they are. Like, I don't take these games super seriously. I just want to have fun, and it just feels kind of slow and boring when I don't really have that adrenaline, that reason to stay alive and to get all these kills. I mean, to be fair, though, it wouldn't be much better. Like, the fact that you can't really get multi-kills in this game, and it's just really frustrating with the TTK. But if they fix that and they add some kind of streak system in there, this game would be goated, honestly. It really would. And also fix the specialist system with the ultimate abilities. Like, it takes so long to get your ultimate, and once you actually get them, they are so fucking weak. They need a huge buff. Like, they really do. Because you're working so hard to get them, it takes so long to actually get them, and then when you do, it is so underwhelming. It's like the score streaks in Advanced Warfare. They are weak as fuck. People could say, go back and play COD, you fucking scrub. Sure, I guess. But like I said, like, so many of us are disenfranchised from Call of Duty, and there really aren't a whole lot of viable alternatives for us for a fast-paced Twitch shooter with streaks, with like just the overall COD style. There's really no other game like it that's really like it. You know, there are games that have tried to implement certain elements from Call of Duty, but there really is no game that's like Call of Duty and is really a good substitute. So a lot of us, yeah, we were hoping that XDefiant was going to be that game. We really were. To me, it just feels like a watered-down Call of Duty that's missing a lot of key aspects that make Call of Duty fun in the first place. So yeah, maybe I'll come back if they add a team deathmatch, free-for-all, search and destroy, because those are really the most popular game modes in COD, and the fact that that's missing is a very curious choice, because again, like I said, that's where like most of the hype of this game, overwhelming amount of it, came from the Call of Duty community specifically, and I just really don't care for objective play. And the other problem is, since most of the people playing XDefiant are former Call of Duty players or current Call of Duty players, they're not really playing the objective that much. They're just going for kills. So like, it's just a big fail focusing the entire game on that aspect of the objective gameplay and the whole ultimate abilities, which other games have, and they do it a lot better. I'd rather play Overwatch, Paladins, even go back to Black Ops 4 than play XDefiant at this point. The map design is good, the gunplay is good, the overall gameplay is solid, but there's just so much left to be desired in this game, and there really isn't enough there at this current point to really stay invested in this game, and that's why after just 2 weeks, I'm already done with XDefiant, and I'm not sure if I'm ever coming back.